Hello my friends, welcome back to Clarity in the Chaos. My name is Tammy, and on this channel I like to share all my crazy ups and downs, both emotional and physical, on this lifelong journey and fight against obesity. If that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to like this video on the way in and subscribe for more videos like this one to inspire you to get started.
Follow me from the past into the future. Let's be in the present. I don't wanna sweat it. I just wanna start all over. Just wanna start all over. All over.
Hello everyone, this is an exciting update. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my 3 months on Tirzepatide update. So I have been on a GLP-1 medication since August 12th, 2025. Before that, here on this channel, I documented my journey of losing 207 pounds using a ketogenic way of life, a ketogenic diet. It's really similar to what I'm doing now, only now I am adding in more carbs, a few more calories, and of course, the help of the GLP-1 medication, which is making all of the difference. I'm going to talk about how things went specifically for this week and then give you the lowdown on how we're doing for the whole 3 months on Tirzepatide. I am with Brello Health. I have been hired as a Brello Health influencer. You might see ads from me coming up on your meta pages and other things like that, maybe even here on YouTube. I really don't know what's in store. I'm excited about this new partnership and I love Brello Health. Everybody keeps asking me the price and whether or not there's extra fees and whether or not it goes up for the different dosing. So I'm just going to give that to you so that I don't have to later in the comments. The price for Tirzepatide is $499 for a 3-month supply, which is super great. Also, they have semaglutide, which is $399 for a 3-month supply. And it's available to anybody. There are no extra fees. There are no monthly subscription charges. This is a subscription service, but you're only billed for the medication every 10 weeks. It's super easy to change your date if you want to push the date later, but keep in mind they will bill you after 10 weeks, so make sure you keep an eye on that. So I'm excited to be partnering with Brello. This video is not sponsored, but I just wanted to give them a shout out because I'm super excited to be working with them. And that's because as for me, Brello's Tirzepatide has made all of the difference. Okay, what I'm going to be doing here, first I'm going to talk about the results from week 12, then I'm going to go over the rest of the data for you. I keep track of all of my stuff in a handy dandy little notebook. Granted, I do also keep track. I track all of my food in Chronometer on my phone. It is an app, Chronometer with no H. And I use the free version. I track all of my injections in Shotzi. Yes, also the free version. Don't let them fool you when you get to the page where it says that they want you to choose which free trial you want to do. Just exit out of that page. You click the X at the top and get out of that page, and then you'll have the free version. I also track my weight and my shots and everything in the Brello Health app, just because I like to track lots of things in my phone. For tracking my steps, I don't have a watch yet. I'm still working on that. So I track them with the Samsung Health app on my phone, which is sort of accurate, not really. So my steps are abysmally low. So don't be disappointed when I tell you my steps number, because I'm sure I'm getting more than that. It's just I'm not really getting them tracked. Okay, so for week 12, I went up to 6.6 milligrams. So I've been slowly inching my titrations up, not every single week, but for every 3 or so weeks, trying to get to a place where I feel like the food noise has really gone away. The hunger is not completely suppressed, but dampened. My satiety level is good, and I'm able to keep my calories in a deficit without having to try that hard. When I say it, not without having to try that hard, what I mean is I'm not pre-tracking like I did with keto. With keto, I would get up in the morning and I would decide exactly what I was going to eat. I would write it down and I would stick to it to the gram, to the milligram. And I was really careful about that. But this time I wanted to see if the medication could help me to just eat a regular amount of food. And so far it has been pretty easy to stay in a calorie deficit. But last week I was really struggling to keep my calories lower. What's funny is that I didn't think that I was eating more food, but I ended up eating almost 100 calories more a day than I had been eating, which had also slowly crept up. And so I decided that it was time to titrate up a little bit more than I had been doing. And I went from 5.5 milligrams of Tirzepatide up to 6.6 6.6 milligrams of tirzepatide for week 12, which is ironically where I was supposed to go according to my prescription by week 8. This is the tail end of that. So I feel like each time I've just been kind of like inching my way up to the next level and then trying to find a level that works and then staying on that level as long as I can. So far, the longest I've stayed on a level is 3 weeks. So there's that. So I did inject 6.6 milligrams of tirzepatide this week. For Brello's concentration of medication, that is 30 units. Remember, units are not your measurement across brands. Your milligrams are your actual dose. The units are just what you inject to get that milligrams. And it's different from Eli Lilly to Roe to Amble to Alara to Fridays and to Brello, Bell Health, Citizen Meds. I mean, there's like a million and they're all different. So unless you really understand math, you should probably stick to exactly what the doctor tells you to do, unless you're like me and you have to figure out the exact minutia details of how it works and are able to, tweak the system a little bit, so to say. Like I've said before in many of my vlogs, this is for educational purposes only. Watch what I do. Don't do what I do. You do what the doctor tells you to do. This is just my experience that I'm sharing, and I don't advocate for that, and I'm sure neither does Brello Health. But it has worked really great for me, and I'm pretty happy. 6.6 did do well for me this week. As far as side effects go, I did have a lot more nausea. But none of my nausea was not like to the point where I had to feel like I was going to vomit. Usually I would sniff an alcohol pad and that way it made it go away. Drink a little Coke or something to like settle my stomach. I never felt so sick that I felt like I needed something intense. I didn't even pull out like my peppermints or ginger chews or any of that. So all in all, I just noticed it more often this week, but it wasn't like bad enough to like cause me problems. I didn't have any constipation this week, which was nice. Last week I was struggling a little bit with that, and I didn't have to take any constipation medication either, which is great. I hit my fiber every day, which we'll talk about later, but I didn't struggle with that as a side effect this week. I didn't have any indigestion. I didn't have any sulfur burps, which I usually do. So that's kind of funny. I usually have a little bit of those the day after the shot. I did have a little bit more fatigue than I usually have, but not overtly so. Just, I was kind of surprised because I've been taking bioavailable B12 through that I purchased through Triquetra Health, and that has been really kicking the fatigue's bottom. But this week I did seem a little more tired. As far as mood swings went, I was pretty chill all week. I had to do, Halloween and all of the things, and I didn't feel stressed out or worried. My son had been sick. Saturday morning was my only time that I had kind of a mini panic attack, and that was because I hadn't really heard from him at all. And all of a sudden, my mama gut was screaming that there was something wrong. I contacted the people that are in charge over his area, and because I hadn't heard from him in days, I was concerned that maybe he wasn't getting better and that he wasn't responding because he was very ill. And as it so happened, he had responded. It just didn't come through on my side. And they had just spoken to him, and he was just basically like, please don't keep me trapped in my room anymore. I need to get out. I need to teach people. And he had been out teaching, and that's why he hadn't contacted me. So mini panic attack for no reason, and that I didn't think had to do anything with the meds and had everything to do with me just being worried about my son. So there's your update on my son from last week. Whatever they gave him, I know that they gave him IV Cipro, which means he probably was really, really sick when he came to the ER. He's in Ecuador, by the way, if you weren't sure where he is. He is on a 2-year mission for my church, and he is 9 months there. And this is the first big sickness that he's had, which is a miracle in and of itself, to be honest, because I kind of thought this was going to be an early on kind of thing, getting used to everything. And he hasn't gotten sick until now, which is pretty great. I did get to talk to him yesterday. He's doing great. They actually had another baptism, so he's back to doing the work. He was supposed to find out if he got transferred to a different area last night. I haven't heard from him at all, which is probably a good sign. I'm hoping that means he got transferred, because I know he's been really struggling in the area that he's been in with the people he's been with, and I'm hoping that maybe he got transferred back to the city. He had a better time when he was in keto, and it's not funny that he serves in keto Ecuador when I began my entire weight loss journey on keto. I thought that was a little nod from the being upstairs, if you know what I'm saying, which was really kind of cute. Anyway, he's doing great. There's your update for him. And I'm doing great on the 6.6. I did have a couple of days where the food suppression was pretty intense. Food kind of tasted like cardboard, and I was like, uh-oh, did I overdo it? I don't want to eat anything. Everything kind of tastes like junk. But then by Wednesday, Thursday, everything kind of started tasting normal, and I just ate my normal amount of food. And I didn't pay attention to any of it, like whether or not I was in a good deficit or not. I was just eating what I felt like eating, and then I added it all up just now. And I'm super pleased to say that I actually moved my calories down by 245 a day. So yay, it's working. My satiety levels are back up. My emotions are more stable. My head is more clear. And even though this was my ovulation week, I didn't feel like my emotions and like everything was all over the place. The side effects I could deal with them. They weren't too terrible. So I'm definitely going to stay on the 6.6 this week, which is good. All right, so since we're on the subject of calories, let's go over those really quickly from this last week. Ironically, Tuesday, I must have been really, really busy. I think I was just really busy on Tuesday. This was before I took my injection. I only got 1141 calories. That was the lowest of the week. And I'm like, how did I do that? And only 112 protein. It was the only day I didn't reach my protein goal, which is funny because it was actually the next day and the day after that. No, it was the day after that. So Tuesday, I hardly got any calories, probably because I was too busy. Wednesday, I ate calories okay. And then Thursday, it was my day that I had struggle. I was on the struggle bus. So Friday was the day where my appetite kind of came back. So, okay. So Tuesday was 1141. Wednesday was 1556. Thursday was 1321. Friday was 1640. Saturday was 1482. Sunday was 1533. And yesterday was 1657 for an average of 1476 for the week, which is down 245 calories per day, less than I did last week, which I was inching up. It's only about 100 calories less than what I had been eating, which is good because since I've dropped, now my new TDEE isn't 2,200 calories anymore. It's now 2,100 calories. And so to maintain that 600 or 700 calorie deficit, I needed to get it down below 1,500 anyway. So I'm hoping I can stay in that range and that will work for me. My protein actually went up this week, and so I actually hit almost the 10% for the first time since starting the GLP-1. My average protein for the week was 145. That's the highest I've hit with the lowest calories, which makes me so happy. I really like to hit 10% of my calories in grams of protein. It's just a thing. Maybe it's the autism in me. I like the roundness of it, but I haven't been able to do that since adding carbs back in. But I did notice that my carbs drastically decreased. I actually got only 86 average carbs per day, where I've been getting over 100 since the beginning. And that was with even eating a little Halloween candy last night. So that's impressive. My fats were the same as they've been all across the board, 53, and my fiber was perfect. I hit my fiber every single day, and my average fiber for the week was 27. I hit my water goal every single day. Also, I had more 100 ounce days than 120 days, but I hit it every single day. No big deal at all. Some of you may be wondering if I'm still doing the Soleil water like I did back when I was doing keto, and the answer is yes. But really, I'm only doing 2 doses of what I used to do, 4 doses a day back when I was on keto. So I'm drinking much less electrolytes than I did on keto, but still more electrolytes than most people drink. So I'm thinking that my body just needs more electrolytes than other people's. And I just kind of go by how I feel. I take some every morning, just like I always have. And whether or not I'll take another dose or not depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling sluggish, tired, nauseous, just icky, then I'll try that to see if it's the sodium. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. It didn't really fix my nausea this week. I did try that to see if that was what the cause was. So all in all, moving the dose up did bring my calories down, which is exactly what I was hoping to do. And I didn't even attempt to do that. That was just purely by what my body was feeling and by what I was interested in eating. I was able to lower the calories drastically from the week before. And I'm so grateful, because that is the thing. The satiety factor is the hardest thing for me, because my brain tells me I ate the same amount of food. Last week, I felt the same level of satiety eating 1,700 calories a day than I did this week eating under 1,500 calories a day. And while that doesn't sound like a lot of calories, when you add it up over time, it really is. It only takes a 3,500 calorie deficit per week to get a pound of weight loss, but it does take that. I'm not eating less enough from my TDEE and not exercising enough to burn a full 2 pounds a week. So this week I basically burned about a pound and a half, which is pretty good. And that's basically where I have been sticking. And with my new TDEE now, my goal will be under 1,500 calories. Let's see if we can hold it there. All right, so all of that to say, and let's just go over the steps really fast. My steps were really sad. I got my treadmill, and it looks like one of my treadmill workouts either didn't count. I think it didn't count. I'm trying to figure out how to track it. I figured out one day and it counted it, but it looks like it didn't count one day. Plus, it's not counting my hour of clogging on Wednesdays either. So I did exercise 3 days a week, even though my average steps were only 2,322. I did get 3 full hours, 3 full workouts. The 2 on the treadmill were more like 45 minutes. It's hard to walk on the treadmill. I don't know if there's something to do with my vision, but I get extreme motion sickness. It doesn't matter where I'm looking. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. So I think at this point, what I'm going to have to do is replace my earbuds, which is ironic. I have not been able to find them since my ADHD ridiculousness lost them at the Halloween party a week ago Sunday. Sigh. I haven't been able to find them. And I need to replace them so that I can listen to music and just look up. Maybe if I look out the window, maybe if I have the TV on up above me, I don't know. I need to figure it out. What I really want is for it to be right here where this chair is. I want to take the lift chair out, but I just have nowhere for it to go. I want to take this chair out and put it right here so I can just look out the view behind me, because it's a pretty view, and then listen to music, or maybe play a show on my computer and just listen to it like a podcast or something right here in my room. But that's going to be few and far between before I get this junker cleaned out. Like, you can't see all the junk because I don't show you the junk, but trust me when I say it's just a junk pile right here, and I got to get rid of that before I can put the treadmill upstairs. Plus, it's still kind of new and the kids are messing with it. I don't want to really take it away from them until they're done with it being a novelty. But right now, it's smack dab in the middle of my dining room, which is not really working well for my chi, if you know what I'm saying. My house is messy enough, and it just makes it look more cluttered. Also, I know I could fold it up, but am I going to? In reality, no, I'm really not. Okay, so we're gonna go over the weigh-ins from this week. Then I'll go through the weigh-ins for the 3 months. And oh, I need to do my inches too. Don't let me forget my inches. I've got my phone here to tell you my inches. I will do that right after my weigh-ins. Then I'll tell you the inches. Then I'll do the 3 months. I'm doing this for myself so that I don't forget. Then I'll do the 3 months of inches, or maybe I'll do those first. And I don't know. And those of you who made it through the 15-minute ramble or whatever it is at this point, I will tell you now that I am showing at the end of these talking head updates once per month, I am showing my 360-degree body view, like I used to do when I liked what I looked like. And I will tell you, it's a lot harder to do it this way than it was when I felt freaking awesome after my surgery. But if you're curious what it looks like having gained weight, 90 pounds post tummy tuck surgery, and to see like what I'm dealing with, and I've had a lot of people ask me like, will you have to have another tummy tuck? Probably I won't do it, even if I need one. I don't think I've gained enough in the midsection for that to even be in a consideration, to be honest. I did already have some loose skin at the top when I first had my surgery, so I'm sure I'll have some there once I finally get back to kind of where I was, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to show it. It may not show a lot of progress. I don't personally see a lot of progress when I'm looking in the mirror, to be honest. My pants do feel a little looser. Clothes that used to not like be really tight on me aren't as tight, which is nice. But other than that, I'm not really seeing much change. So let's go through the weigh-ins, and then we can discuss the amount that I've lost in total in 3 months. Okay, so the weigh-ins started out high again. I had a big jump on 10/29, back up to 244.5. Then on 10/30, 243.2. Then on Halloween, I bumped back down to 242.1. And then November 1st, 242.5. Then 242.1. And then yesterday, I actually saw 241, which was the lowest weight I saw on the scale, and it's the lowest weight I've seen since beginning Tirzepatide. But then today, it was back up to 241.8. So if you go from my average last week to my average for the week this week, the average for the week this week was 242.5, which is down 0.3 from my average last week. If you go from Tuesday to Tuesday, it's also kind of abysmal. Last Tuesday, I weighed in at 242.5. This Tuesday, I weighed in at 241.8 for a 0.7 total loss for the week. Bum, bum, bum. And even ironically, if you go from lowest weight last week to lowest weight this week, I'm still only down 0.8. And you know what? That could make me really depressed, except for that I have the data, says I did a calorie deficit. So I know I burned body fat, and I know this is just water weight holding on. And probably this coming week, I'm going to see a nice whoosh, and I'm looking forward to it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But in my experience, when I'm holding like that, and I know I did everything right, and it was also, yesterday was my ovulation day, and I think that was the first time I've actually ovulated. Like, the pain woke me up. Ovulation. And I was like, whoa, hot dang it. Maybe I haven't been ovulating every month, and that's why my weight hasn't been going up. So it's possible that this hold that I'm having is because of hormones, which at almost 51 is still kind of annoying, but I could be grateful for any kind of estrogen at this point, right? Any kind. So that's where I'm at on the scale. I'll talk about the totals when I go over the 3 months, but let's do really quickly the measurements. So I try to measure every week, and I don't always get it done, and sometimes I don't. But I did measure today, and so I'll give you the 1 week result, then I'll give you the 3 month result. So this week, I didn't have any decrease in my bust or my arms. My under bust, which is my rib cage, went down another 1/2 inch, which I noticed because I noticed I have to do my bra up on the tightest clasp now. Versus it used to be on the loosest clasp. So that's really, really nice. My waist didn't go down at all. My lower abs didn't go down at all. My booty didn't go down at all. So the places that I really want to decrease, none of those went down at all. My left thigh went down 1/4 inch, but my right thigh didn't move. My knees stayed the same. My calves lost 1/2 inch each. And I think that's because depending on what's going on, my lower body retains water a lot. And so sometimes my calves are bigger and then they go smaller, bigger and smaller. They haven't really changed a heck of a lot. But let's go over the 3 months results from weight, from measurements. Sorry if I can even talk. I'm used to being on TikTok and I can say whatever I want to say. Anyway, so in 3 months, my bust has gone from 48 to 45.5. And I will say that 45.5 was my 2 month result as well. I haven't lost anything in my bust in a whole month, which is phenomenal. Because, girls, if you remember on keto, I freaking lost my boobs to the point where they were just like saggy flappies of skin. And I dread that. I absolutely dread that because I do not intend to do any upper body plastic surgery due to my lymphatic issues. And so if I can keep any of this fat that I grew, I'd like to keep it. So I don't hate that I didn't lose any on my bust this last month. But in total, I've lost 2.5 in 3 months. My left bicep has gone down 1 inch. My right bicep has gone down 1.25 inches. My rib cage has gone down 2.5 inches total in 3 months. My waist has gone down 3.5 inches total. My lower abs has gone down 6 inches total. So that's the area I have lost the most, which is kind of like, I guess, the little right at the shelf of my booty and the pooch in front. And I think that's a lot to do with lymphatic flow because that's also where I swell up when I'm having my lymphedema issues. So that one changes a lot. So that one may or may not be real. I don't know. I feel like that one's a water weight one too. I don't know. But my booty has gone down from of 50.5 to 46.5, which is 4 full inches, which is amazing. My left thigh has gone down a whole inch and a half. My right thigh has gone down a whole inch and a half. I'm down to 22 on my left thigh and 23.5 on my right thigh. My left knee, and I do measure my knees because that's where my lipedema cuff is. If you know what lipedema is, it's a fatty tissue disorder. It's fat that cannot be decreased with diet and exercise. And I monitor that because that shows me my swelling. And also I'm just secretly hoping that some of the fat in my thighs will go away and my knees will go away. So my knees has only gone down from, let's see. No, my knee has not changed. My left knee has not changed at all. It was 20 when I started. It's still 20. It's 0. Okay, and my right knee has gone down from 20.75 to 20, which is 0.75. Sorry, not 75. 0.75 inches. So not really a big change in my knees, but not an increase, which I'm always grateful for. And like I said before, my calves have gone down a half an inch, and that happened this week, but they bounce around. They've gone up, down, up, down, up, down. For a total loss in 3 months of 26.5 inches. Amazing. I am so happy with that progress. I am thrilled. And part of the reason I measure my inches every week when I remember is because if I don't lose weight and I still lose inches, which I did this week, I can be confident that I'm losing body fat even if my body is retaining water and the scale is not showing the work that I've put in. I know eventually it will come when I'm losing inches. I do not count it as a stall until I have not lost for 4 to 6 weeks in pounds and in inches. So there's that. And you can be the judge, I guess, at the end if the 360 has changed at all. I'm kind of hoping, I haven't really looked yet, I'm kind of hoping to see some really good progress, especially in my back rolls, because those are the thing that frustrate me the most because I didn't gain weight on my stomach. I gained it in my back, which the kids joke about being a big back, but I don't really want to be one, if you know what I mean. Okay, so my 3-month results, I'm going to go down the list. I probably won't do this every single time. Eventually I'll start just saying the month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the week, I'm going to say how much I lost and what milligrams of tirzepatide I was currently on for that week. Remember, I did weird dosing schedule like I talked about before. This is for informational and entertainment value only. And I am just telling you what I did. I am not telling you that you should do this, but this is how I did it. Okay. Week 1, I was on 2.2 milligrams and I was down an average of 3.1, but week to week, 7.7. Week 2, I went up to 2.64 milligrams and I was down 3.6 pounds average or 0 week to week. That's just kind of how it works out. It's kind of why I go by the average, but I like to do them both because this is fascinating to me. Week 3, I moved up to 3.08 milligrams of tirzepatide. I just still wasn't feeling great about keeping my calorie level where I wanted to keep it. I wasn't feeling that good. And week 3 ended up being the first week that it really started to work for me and felt so great. My head cleared out, the food noise calmed down, all the noise calmed down. I got all of the benefits and I went, okay, this is what we're talking about. And I went down 3.4 by average, but also 3.3 from week to week. I stayed on 3.08 that week and I went down only 0.6 on average and only 0.2 week to week. And then I decided to move up. I can't remember why. Probably because I was starting to struggle with food noise again. That's usually the issue, is that I just not, and satiety. Satiety is the big one for me. If I eat and I still feel antsy to eat more, that's where I'm going to fail. So if I'm feeling that, I know it's time for me to move up a little. So I moved up the next week. This is week 5. I moved up to 3.74 milligrams. And the reason it's such weird things is because each unit of Brello has 0.22 milligrams of tirzepatide in it, and I'm just going up like a unit or 2. And that's why I'm getting these really weird random numbers from. Okay, so week 5, I went down only 0.8 by average, but week to week, I went down 2.2. And when that happens, that means over the week it stayed the same and then dropped on Tuesday. Next week, it still wasn't quite hitting it, I guess, so I went up to my prescribed dose, which my prescribed dose was 4.4. With Brello, I went up to 4.4, and I went down 2.9 average that week, but only 0.2 week to week, which means I really dropped on Tuesday before and then kind of stayed there. I stayed on that dose at 4.4 because it was working for me, but the next week, I only went down 0.5 on average, but I went down 3.1 week to week, which means it dropped again on Tuesday. I decided to stay on 4.4 again for week 8. My average was down 2.6, but my week to week was also down 1.8. So that was killer right there. And I was like, that's awesome. But the food noise was coming back. I was struggling with satiety, so I decided to move up to 5 milligrams, which is the Lilly direct dosing for the second month. And this was week 9, so I was already outside of the second month anyway. So even though it looks like I'm moving up quickly, in actuality, I'm just moving up incrementally, and I'm moving up more slowly than technically people are usually advised to do. So I know it gets confusing, but that's kind of where my head was at. So I went to 5 on week 9, went down 1.6 pounds average, but 1.1 week to week. So that's like 3 weeks in a row that I had a nice loss. And then week 10, I stayed on 5 milligrams, went down at 1.8 average, but 2.6 week to week. That's 4 weeks in a row that I had a good weight loss drop, which was amazing. But the food noise started killing me by the end of that week, and I decided to move up another 0.5 milligram, and I went up to 5.5 for week 11. Week 11 was really hard for me. It was a stressful week. If you guys watched my video last week, you will know I went through some really stressful things. My son was in the hospital in Ecuador. I had to see this girl that makes me uncomfortable, and it caused me a lot of anxiety. We had a Halloween party. It was difficult to track my food, etc., etc., etc. And so I literally only went down 0.7 average, but I actually went up. This was the first up week to week I had 0.4. So that was the first time the scale was higher Tuesday to Tuesday than it had been the entire week down. There was one time where it was the same, but this was the first time it had gone up. But my weekly average was still going down because I still got that little bit from last week, the week before. So then you add this last week where I told you I went up to 6.6, and that is because the week of 5.5, my calories had gone up dramatically and I didn't even realize it. They had gone up to 1,700 calories average. Actually, I think it was more than 1721 average, which is way higher than I want to be. And I realized right away when I was doing the data for the video that I needed to move up again. So I moved up to my actual Brello doctor prescribed dosage that I should have been on by week 8. I went up on the very last week again to 6.6. I have not made it to the Lilly dosing this time. And like I said earlier, the 6.6 has really been great for me. So I'm planning to stay there until it stops working again. And then I'll move myself up toward the Lilly direct dose of 7.5. But I'm not going to do that yet. And then of course I was down 0.3 average and 0.7 week to week. So total from beginning to end, basically first day to very last day, I'm down 22.5 pounds. If you go the weekly average and just add them all up, I'm down 21.9 average. So basically 22 pounds in 12 weeks. Slightly less, about 1.8 per week if you go by average over the whole time. 1.8 to 1.9, depending on the day, is what my average thing tells me in Shotzi. It used to say 2.5, and then it went down to 2.2. So probably I'm not in a deficit strong enough, low enough to get more than a pound a week weight loss, which is fine because I did it really fast last time with keto. I lost 100 pounds in 8 months. I was eating under 1,300 calories. And despite keeping my protein really high, I lost all my hair. And well, not all of it, but I lost quite a bit of hair. And I struggled with lots of loose skin. As you guys know, I ended up having surgery to repair that. I probably would have either way, whether I had lost slowly or not. But this time, I'm not in any hurry. This time, I want to give my skin, especially since I'm a lot older now. I'm 8 years older than when I started on keto. That's a big difference when you're in perimenopause. I'm going to be 51 at the end of this month. My birthday is November 30th. And at this point, I'm just kind of trying to be like nice to myself and let it just kind of like slowly move down and not do anything too intense that is really hard for me to keep going. As soon as the calories start to creep up and I feel my satiety levels weakening, I'm going to raise the dose just a little bit. I'm trying really hard to string it out because I know a lot of people have said, what do you do when you get to 15 and it stops working? I am worried about that, in all honesty. I see a lot of people, though, at 15 saying it's still working for them. There's a guy here on YouTube called Jamie Seltzler. He's also on TikTok. He's more on TikTok than he is here. He's new to YouTube. You guys should look him up and subscribe. He posts all of his live chat interviews with doctors, nutritionists, and bariatric medicine people and things like that on his YouTube channel that he just started. It's Jamie Seltzler. Selzler. Seltzler. But I think you just say Seltzer. I don't know. I've never heard him say it. But anyway, he didn't lose anything at all until he hit 10 milligrams, and he was like 650 pounds. He went up to 15 right away, and he's been at 15 for almost 2 years. He's lost 350 something pounds on the 15, and it's never stopped working for him. So I'm not stressed about that, but I also am cognizant of how much I still need to lose, how much time this is going to take, how much I want to have the least amount of side effects with the most amount of benefit. And then I'm so grateful that I'm on compound and on vials so that I can choose to only move up a little bit and see if that's enough, instead of having to jump clear, from like 7.5 to 10. I can just do, I can just do 6.6 to 7 if I want, or to 7.1, or even to 7.5, and just do it a milligram at a time, which is really, really nice. So that is one benefit to doing the compounding. I will say, though, compounding is not FDA approved. Technically, they're putting something in that isn't tirzepatide. While I can speak that Brello has worked really well for me, I've never actually been to the pharmacy in Houston, Texas. It's South End Pharmacy, and I'm sure they have clean practices, but you just never know. They aren't overseen by the FDA, and so technically they are not. The compounding pharmacies are not FDA approved. That doesn't make them unsafe, but some of them could be, so do your research. Definitely look for people like me who are giving personal experience. I've actually met the people who work for Brello, and I've talked to them about the company. The company is really awesome. It's improving day by day. The shipping times have improved. They don't service every state, so that's the most disappointing thing. They have 15 states that they are not licensed in because they have only the one pharmacy. I think if they could get a second pharmacy, that might benefit them, because maybe they could get that one qualified, but for the moment they only have the one pharmacy, so they can't get qualified for every single state right now. So there's a list. If you go to the BrelloHealth.com page and you scroll to the very bottom, there's in the links on the bottom that are text, it says states we service. I think states we deliver to, or states we serve. You can click on that and find and see if your state is on there before you start the process, if you're looking to get started. I do not have an affiliate link yet. So those of you who are going to ask me, I know you're going to ask me, I do not have an affiliate link yet. They're still working on it. I'm not sure what the hang up is. They used to sound really positive when I asked them about it, and now when I ask them, because I meet with them like every other Friday, and when I meet with them and I ask about it, the girl goes like this. So I'm guessing it's not going well. And I'm trying not to think about how much money I missed out on for how many people I sent the way of Brello. But I also remember that everything happens in its time, and I'm trying to be patient. And I know that they're working as hard as they can to get that. And I have met so many people who are on Brello who do really, really well. Lots of people on TikTok. I go live on TikTok a lot, though I will say this week that you're seeing this video will probably be my last week going live, probably for a few weeks, because Nutcracker pictures are coming up this weekend. And I get into dance picture purgatory. I sit at the computer for 12 hours a day. My body swells up like a balloon, and there's nothing that can be done. I have to do it. So hopefully it's not going to be terrible for my weight loss. I'm looking forward to at least this week being good. Crossing my fingers. I really need some motivation to make it through the next month, because until after Nutcracker is over, my life is over, because between all of this time of editing photos, I also am in the Nutcracker and have to go to practices and bring my kids to things, and we still have all of our regular stuff, and it's a lot. So wish me luck with that. But you know what? It's okay. It's going to be all right. We make it through every time. It's going to be fine. I need that money. My kids are all the dance studio is going to Disneyland next year, and we get to go. Aren't we excited? Oh, I love Disney, but and then my daughter is going to be a senior this year, and you know what? All the things that come up money-wise for being a senior, and also we have Christmas, and my son is in Ecuador, and sending him packages is expensive. All of the things. I have to do Nutcracker pictures, and I have to be grateful that I can do Nutcracker pictures, because without them, my kids wouldn't be having Christmas, and we definitely wouldn't be having Disney. So thank you, and also thank you to Brello for hiring me so that I could earn money a little bit differently as well. Things are looking up. I'm happy. It's been a chill week, and I guess that's it. That's my whole update. And I'm glad you guys stuck around with me. And I guess next is going to be the 360 cringe. And apologize again about wearing the see-through undies on the before, and I blurred out my booty. because of that, because you can literally see my whole entire booty line. And I was like, girl, why'd you do that? You're stuck with that clip forever. But I wear different panties now, so hopefully you can't see anything. Anyway, all that to say, I guess we better get it over with. I'll catch you all again soon.
We don't need the memories, just need to wipe the slate clean. Go from chaos to the peace, I need to focus on me. A small town, run down, so let's run away from here. From the ghost to the coast, where everything is clear. Follow me, from the past into the future. We don't need any bags or any pastors. Let's be in the present, I don't wanna sweat it, I just wanna start all over. Just wanna start all over. All over. Follow me, from the past into the future. We